Okay, so if you go to the University of Montana's website, there'll be a blank here called myumt.edu. So if you go there, there will be a link to the library. And if you'll take notes now. If you're missing, it's not a problem. I am recording this. It'll be available on YouTube within an hour or two. You go to the library. This is always an adventure because they change the library website about every week. I'm not sure why. Research tools. Your background section is going to be primarily about research tools. Or research. You're going to use research tools for it. And then, in general, you're not going to know the exact name of the journal where you want to find your paper. Once you start to get into research, you might find a paper that references another journal. Then you would use this journals button. But for now, let's just go into databases. And the best database that I've found, the most comprehensive, it's a little bit like you can think of it like the Library of Congress for scientific literature, is the WebOfScience. The world's leading peer-reviewed journal literature in the sciences, social sciences, etc. Okay, so WebOfScience. Might ask for your login again, no problem. And you can even use this off campus. It's going to ask for the same login information. Okay, and there we are. That wasn't too many clicks, right? We just got library, reference tools, WebOfScience, and here we are. So, Shaylee, give me a good example of something that I should research for your project. What would be a good set of keywords maybe to look up in terms of what you might want to see in your research? Do you remember the name of your research project? You remember the name of your project? Had something to do with solar. Do you remember? Solar air. Yeah, let's go with that. So let's just type it in. Solar air. See what happens. Okay, 14,300 topics. Probably too many to search. So we can go back, and sometimes if you go down here and add another field, let's do solar as one, and let's just try air as a second one. Just see what happens. Maybe we'll get more. Maybe we'll get fewer. Same number. So let's add another field. How about thermal? So I think that's part of what we're working on with here. So thermal. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of articles. I didn't expect there to be that many. Oh, hey, thanks, Naomi. You can just leave them on the back there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Be sure.
Perfect.
This one's for you.
Okay. All right. Thanks. So this guy's got solar thermal as a dash, and then if we go back, I think maybe if we go back and narrow it down a little bit, we can look just in the title. We'll look in the title because those are fairly broad titles. Search. Okay, there's 155. That's just about at the border of what you might be able to scan through. So if you look, there's a way to go in here. I think the default is 10 per page, but if I get this to 50 per page. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now, some of these guys, design and thermal performance evaluation of a novel solar air heater. Not a whole lot of description there. Experimental study of the thermal performance and pressure drop of a solar air collector based on flat micro heat array pipes. there's plenty of here to dig into. So you can see there's one in renewable energy, there's another one in energy conversion and management, applied Arabian Journal for Science and Engineering. I wouldn't mess too much around in these sort of more obscure journals, so let's just take a look at the first one. It hasn't been cited yet, because you can see it was only published, well, gosh, last month. Power generation. So these guys, so they're looking at so this seems fairly broad, but it looks like they have designed a solar air heater to produce a good. What's bugging you all about this abstract so far? There's one thing that's bugging me a lot. I got to the second sentence, and I'm already not that. Oh, at the third sentence. So what's a good exhaust temperature? I mean, does that mean it's nice and low? Does that mean it's nice and high? So another thing I'm going to stress a lot in your reports is that you can use numbers, right? Because by the end of this this session, you're actually going to have data. You're going to have numbers. So already I'm dissing this paper a little bit because they haven't shown the numbers. This is good. 2 halogen lights of 300 watts are used to increase the exhaust temperature. No idea why we would do that. So a little strange, but nevertheless, we might be building something that is superior to what, who are these guys? Saxena, Cerbransta, and Turth came up with. So,
Did I email them?
well, that happens all the time in the literature. So, optimum design, and here's another one too. A lot of times, in terms of optimization, it's tough to know what's being optimized. I mean, what we're going to get into later is optimization of upfront cost versus cost savings. So Raquel's actually going to be going around to the different teams and asking what kind of power is going into this system, what's the cost going to be up front, and what's the cost savings going to be downstream. So I think in most scenarios, the cost is the bottom line. You know, in almost any one of these scenarios, and she's also going to ask, why don't we see more of these systems? Well, a lot of times the answer is because natural gas is just as cheap as it is right now. It's inexpensive enough that some of these other technologies don't become competitive. It's not the case in solar PV anymore. Solar PV has reached the point where it doesn't matter what political side you land on, if you believe in global warming or not, solar PV actually ends up with a better bottom line and a much quicker payback than it used to. So those are things to think about when you're talking about optimization. Okay, so we've covered notebooks. We've looked at references. I also want to make sure that everybody has my email address. So if you don't have it yet, let me just. I think most students do. But if there's something that just comes up tonight, whatever, it's just Bradley.Layton@umontana.edu. Go ahead and shoot me a question. I know training you just shot me one, so thanks for that. I saw that one earlier today, so I appreciate it. All right, let me show you a couple reports, because this is where, believe it or not, you're going to be in a little bit more than a week. And I'll post these to the course website too, so you can have a look at those.
The Solar 2014 report is already in.
You got one up there? Okay.
So it's a good reference.
Yeah.
That's a well-done paper.
Super. And was that?
That was Corey and Rachel.
There was the PV?
Yep.
let's just, let's go through it then. Okay. So one thing right off the bat that I would like to see, this is the executive summary, and typically the executives are more worried about dollars and payback time. That's something that you should put in here, like what the upfront cost is, what the cost savings is over time, and then a third thing that I'd really like you to put in, this is going to be a factor, and Russell, I might ask for your help a little bit on this, is just turning joules into carbon footprint. Believe it or not, Northwestern Energy is actually going to start putting carbon cost into their energy portfolio in the next few years. I've had a bunch of meetings with the CEO, president of Northwestern Energy, Bob Rowe, and of course he's worried about his bottom line for his customers, his dollars, but he's also, when you get to that level of utility, you become a politician, and you're answering to people who are voting based on, how they feel that various energy technologies are affecting all of us. So, I'd like to see some discussion of money in there, please. I'd also like to see discussion of power. How much energy is flowing through your system? How much is going in? How much is coming out? And we'll get some efficiency metrics too, and Russell had kind of tasked you with that. So I gave Russell a nice little table, and what he's going to do at the end is actually have a little table showing all four technologies compared side by side. So is that clear what I want to see in the executive summary? Some numbers, big picture. And you're not going to know them right off the bat. This is going to be something that you're going to write at the very end, just like you write your abstract at the end of your papers. Okay, and then I think we'll probably have enough time here for me to show you how to put if you'll notice as I'm scrolling down, some of these are highlighted in gray. Who's seen that before in Microsoft Word, sort of highlighted in gray text? Is that a new one for most people? Okay, what that is, that's actually a field code that's been put in automatically, and I'll show you how to do that because it will save you enormous time and frustration in writing this thing. These guys went a little extra fancy and went ahead and put in lists of equations. If you want to do that, that's totally fine as well. I'm not going to expect that, but if you want to geek out on it, by all means, be my guest.
Brad,
Yes.
the one thing that they are missing there,
Yeah.
in the beginning, is we're going to use some weird words in our paper that the average reader is not going to know what that means.
Mhm.
Derated
Yeah.
for a solar panel.
List of terms.
So those certain terms, we should have those terms with a definition of what does that mean in plain English.
Yeah. Yeah. And
See, they're going to jump out.
yeah, and you just call that list of terms. In fact, yeah, I'm glad you said that because I'd also like to see, and this is let's do it this way. And let me just show you really quick what you can do for that. So that was just copy paste. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, one really handy way to make your way around Microsoft Word is to hold down that Shift key. If I do an arrow, I'm just grabbing individual lines. If I do an up arrow, I'm grabbing individual lines up and down. So use that use the Shift key and those arrows to your advantage. It just kind of helps grab things. And this could be called list of symbols. I'm glad you said that, Tim. So, well, we'll get terms in there too, but I'd also like to see a list of symbols, just as important. So list of symbols, I'll put list of terms in here too, just for the record. Okay. D-rated.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I'll just leave this guy in there as an example. So for example, and these are going to be in alphabetical order. I don't even know, I'm not even sure what was A in this particular report, do you remember?
Sorry?
I don't remember what A was in this particular report, but let's just say for the time being it's area. And then just throw the units out there. And the way to get that superscript is to do a Control-Shift plus. All I'm doing is holding the Control-Shift down and doing a plus on that to get that guy. Another very important thing, all of your symbols are italicized. These guys did not italicize their symbol as they should.
Like the Greek symbols and stuff.
Yeah, and then the Greek symbols, so here's another one. So first you list all of your Latin, and then once you get down, you'll get into your Greek. And for example, eta, which is the efficiency, and typically eta is power out over power in. I'm just going to go down here and type in the letter H. And then on my keyboard, I've got a little speed key to do that. But what you can see, I just turned that into a symbol. So another really easy way to do that, if I just type out A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, you can see the whole Greek alphabet pretty easily right there. We're not going to use the whole thing, but I think we saw theta earlier. Eta is efficiency. Don't be intimidated by those things. Write it in your own symbols, and we'll work it out in the end. But that's the way to put a Greek symbol in there. And then I can go back here to Times New Roman, and then write efficiency. Okay, so thanks. Yep, we'll just put that right up top. And then, what are the units of efficiency while I'm thinking about it? We know area is meters squared. We know force is newtons. What are the units of efficiency? I know this. I know it. Power divided by power. What are the units on that? Same as 5 divided by 5. It's 1. There's no units on efficiency, right? It's like a percentage. It's always going to be something between 0 and 100. So efficiency, you can rate it between 0 and 100%. You can also rate it between 0 and 1, however you like. Okay. So here's the background. I just showed you a little bit ago how to go in and do some research, find some background papers. If you want to resort to a little bit of Google, a little bit of Wikipedia, that's fine. But I'd really like to see at least 10 references from the literature. So you got 5 students per team. Each person grabs a couple papers. The bulk of your lit review is done. And what you're going to do is find, like for example, another team out there that did something similar. You're going to read through it and go, why the heck did they add 3 100-watt solar to their exhaust? Why don't they just put on a bigger manifold or something? Yes, what's it?
What was the font you used for it?
Oh, for the Greek symbols, it's just symbol font. So if I go up here, you can see in the little deal there, I go from symbol over to Times New Roman. And to see them all, you can just type out the alphabet on the keyboard. Okay. So, for example, let me just read this first sentence. From the first use of a magnifying glass to capture the sun's energy to start a fire in the 7th century. Century capitalized or not? No. Not usually. Okay, that's fine. Usually you put that TH in a superscript. BC to the modern day, utility scale photovoltaic installation solar technology has been developing alongside other sources of energy. U.S. Department of Energy. So another thing you might try, and this is what I like to do a lot of times when I'm doing this kind of proofreading, is grab a split screen. And so here's where we are. If I come down here, more than likely, my references are going to be at the bottom. And you can see these guys did a nice job and just put their references in alphabetical order. So U.S. Department of Energy is the bottom. If this were done, it'd be nice to have the year right there. You can see how they put 2014 right there. I'd go ahead and just put that in right here too. 2014. When I'm grading and correcting your reports, if I throw a little green in there, it means add it. If I throw a red in, it means take it out. Okay, this is kind of a grammatical error, but what they're saying here is don't use passive voice. So it is estimated. Even it has been estimated.
We'll put that further back in the sentence. Start out with between the year 2007, 2012.
Yeah, even just get right, there you go, yeah. Just get it right out of there. Because they've got a range anyway, right? They got between 70 and 80%, so perfect. I like it. Actually, let's do this. There we go, look at that. So here, here you can see that I've just thrown that in as a, okay, oops. All right, between the years, percent. Parkinson, okay, so let's make sure they got Parkinson down here. There it is, there it is. And something like this, this is a fair place to use a web reference because, more than likely, peer-reviewed journal reference, that thing's going to go off to the reviewers, it's going to go off to the editors. It's going to be a year before that thing sees the light of day. So something like this, cleantechnia.com, I haven't necessarily heard of it. There's other websites there like the EIA that are going to be a good reference on that. U.S. Department of Energy, obviously they use that. So this is a perfectly fine place to use a web reference. It's going to give you something up to date. Okay. They even cite the syllabus. I love it. So they're just citing the syllabus. We've got a copy of that going too. Corey Monroe, Will Stallman. So you can you can even take this paragraph right out of this guy, copy it, fill in your own names, stats, and change it up a little bit, personalize it. They did a nice CAD design, and I've already seen Lance has already started off on CAD. I've got Colton coming here pretty soon to get the 3D printer fired up. So if there's something on your project, hey, we'd love to have this little gizmo on there, it'd be fun to see. Well, in fact, each project needs to have at least one thing 3D printed. And it could even just be sort of a model, like a small scale model of your technology. Print your paddle wheel, we'll stick it under the sink, and see what happens.
This is on Moodle?
What's that?
This is on Moodle?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll put this version that I'm editing up there too. And it's fine to have a little bit of just a little bit of narrative in here. It's just kind of an update. One thing you might try here, see how that trickle charging crosses the line? I'm going to do a backspace, and if I do a Control-Shift hyphen, it just looks a little nicer. The Control-Shift hyphen is a non-breaking hyphen. You can also do that with, if you had like 12 volts, you want a space between the number 12 and the V in volts, Control-Shift-Space does the same thing, keeps it on one line. Just nicer to read. Oh, right, and like, here's an example. 12 volt. That's not that big a deal. I mean, sometimes you'll see it in literature. I'm not going to be picky about that. Okay, so these guys, figures 1 and 2, typically, and I'll show you how to do a figure cross-reference here in a second. Typically, if this were auto-captioned, I'd click on that and I'd see that same gray that I saw up top. I don't see it here, so it looks like they might have typed that in manually. But let's go down. Okay, so here's their figure 1. Thais is very familiar with figure 1. She's been taking these reports from last year and compiling them into one engineering document. But let me take a look here at the figure 1 caption. Okay, so see how that became gray right as I got my cursor over it? So all they've done to get that is gone in and said insert. No, I was missing here, don't I? References, insert caption. And right there, what comes up is this automatic thing saying figure 1. I didn't type figure 1, I said insert caption. And it knows, since my cursor is in front of the current figure 1, it's just going to pop that in right. So you'll probably have 10 or so figures in your paper by the time you're done. You'll have 2 or 3 tables, and this is going to help you from having to remember them all. Okay, so figure 1's already in there. I'm not going to put it in again, but now what I can do, give these guys a little favor. Is this. I'm going to insert a reference. So insert, cross-reference, and there's different reference types. I'm just going to go down here and pick figure. Now I don't want the entire caption, but this document knows that I have 10 figure captions in there already. Figure 1 obviously is the first one, and I'm just going to say give me the label and number. There it is. Stuck it right in. Now, as you can see, these authors had a slightly different way of referencing. That's fine, and you are going to want to reference every single figure. Don't just throw the thing out there and expect, just think, be kind to your readers, just like you're reading a textbook. You want to see that figure 1 reference before it appears. Please do reference the NEC code. The PV trainer folks have already been digging through that today to see if the wires in their system are going to stand up to sunlight or not. We read the UL listing on the wiring, and it wasn't there. We're going to call the manufacturers and say, hey, it looks like it's probably listed for sunlight, but we want to make sure. So again, critical, getting back to my comment earlier about, lives and safety on the line with some of these energy technologies. If you stick something out there and it cooks in the sun and shorts and electrocutes somebody, you're in trouble because you didn't follow the NEC code. So that's what it's there for. And while this added the project workload considerably, and yeah, it typically does. If you're not doing your homework up front, it's good to, in fact, it's critical to follow that code. Okay, so there's that.
On that one?
Yeah.
Because that's a general, just saying we're looking at overall safety based on NEC code, you can cover it and say just NEC 2014.
Yeah.
Later on, when you get down in there and you start getting specifics, you're going to want to quote the section of where, like in your figures where you're showing your math or figuring out conductors.
Yeah.
And how do you determine the proper conductor? You need to quote the actual paragraph section of where you got that. So it'll be like most of the solar stuff is under 690.
Yep.
So it'll be NEC section 690 decimal 11.
We even got we even got
so on.
690 bookmarked right here. So yeah. So there's that. And so you can see these guys have gone in and done that insert caption in each case.
Are you only goes to 11?
2014 has been published. There's no 2015 out yet. And they don't, and they publish about every 3 years. Yeah, it's every 3 years. Yeah.
Dr. Layton?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one what book were you talking about that only goes up to 11?
Well, I think what I might have mentioned yesterday is that different states adopt different code years at different times. And I think at the moment, Montana is following the 2011 code. Because a lot of times, it's well, as they just said here in the report, it becomes time-consuming to update to the very latest code, and so you're always sort of, again, just, it's balancing safety and cost a little bit, to some extent. So 2011 is sufficient.
And you can download the 2011 PDF for free. Just Google
Yep.
NEC, and there'll be a couple of places where you can download the PDF. It's pretty huge. It's like 1,200 pages, but you can download the old one for free.
Okay.
Do you have to use that specifically, or can we just Google for our answers?
No, you have to use the book specifically.
So here's just a little bit of proper syntax where you want to use the word 3 instead of the number 3. Make your writing instructors proud on that one.
And the reason I say that, and where you're getting your answers, because we're looking at those references, and those references are showing that you know the proper place to get the information. And if you Google it, you're trusting that somebody else did their research correctly. Not cool.
Something about assumptions and mess-ups.
Yeah.
This little degree symbol in there, you can see that they found it under the insert symbol. There's also the little plus minus there. That's where that little plus minus came from. Looks like they put their meters squared down below. I'm not sure how that happened. So we can fix that. So nice little table. I don't know. I guess since most of our technologies are freestanding, I don't think it's. This is a fantastic way to organize data. You don't have to follow this exact system, but if something like this is similar to your project, please, by all means, go ahead and use it. They just went to a website. Let me show you how to go ahead and insert something like this. So let's just say I've got a Microsoft Excel table somewhere. Let me think of a good one here. Let me think of a good one. Well, yeah. So I'll just go into courses. Here's Energy 101. Here's Spring 2015. Oh, no, let's go into Fall 2014. Here's Summary 3. Well, I'll just make a fresh one. How about that? Let's say I've got some data in Excel. So here's my X, here's my Y. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your data is going to be more complicated than this. Get these guys in there, home, center it up. Now, if I take this little Excel and I want to copy it, I come over into my Word. Don't just paste it in there. Paste it in as a picture. And that's going to be true, like your CAD, obviously, you're going to paste as a picture. Your photographs, you're going to paste as a picture. When you're pasting Excel tables into Microsoft Word, paste them in as pictures. So home, paste, and then right there's the picture icon. And now you can you can play with it around. If it's too small, you can resize it. If you don't paste as a picture, it's gonna want input. It's gonna treat it like Excel, and it's gonna just upset you. So don't mess around with that. Also, nice thing here. I'll just put a note out here. Alt-IM. Nice work putting the table caption above the table. So you'll notice figure captions go below figures, table captions go above tables. Another nice little trick, if I'm sitting right here, if I'm on home, I go to paragraph, home paragraph, see line and page breaks? This little keep with next will also save you a lot of time and frustration in Microsoft Word. If you don't use it, you might end up with your table on one page, your table caption on the other, annoying, but if you do the keep with next, they all flow together as a unit. So, I'll also say in here, nice work putting table and using keep with next.
Is this standardized how you put the table caption above the table, because it's numerous textbooks where table captions go below too?
It's standard. I mean, I don't know. Let's look at this guy. No, there it is, table caption above the table. IEEE does it, Nature does it, Science does it, ASME does it. I guess I haven't seen too many otherwise. Okay, array design calculations. So here's, well, they're showing their math up front, right? So I think a lot of you have already done a little bit of math, some modeling. I've seen Serenity struggling with his power equations for the microhydro. Joe and I were going over the equations for the solar thermal fluid. Every one of these systems is going to have some kind of design and theory. This guy did an okay job referencing the figure, but not quite. So what I'm going to do here is take that period out. It does not belong there, because that is not the end of the sentence. And I'm going to stick a paren in, because this is how you reference a figure. There we go. And I wouldn't make your font much smaller than 11 point. I don't know why this got to be 9 point, but I'll just pop it up to 11. And then sometimes you want to get fancy. See how the style is caption? Whoa, hey, no, I don't want that. What I'm going to do is go down here and right-click on this and say update caption to match selection, because that looks just about the way I want it. Captions in italics format, it's the right font size, and now every time the style caption appears, it's going to look like this, and I'm not going to have to go back and change every single caption in there. So update to match. And so I don't know what the others look like, but if all of the figures were style captioned, they'll all look like this right now. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is not a bad attempt, but let me show you how to fix this particular equation. Well, first of all, it's wrong. Let's see here. PV watts, using the formula. Well, it's not, it might be right in some sense, but it's not, does not follow the strict definition of efficiency. Let me just see what they came up with, though. 1 kilowatt per square meter. Okay, there are several things wrong with this. So this is a perfect opportunity to show you how to fix an equation like this. What is the equation for efficiency? Yeah.
Multiplied by 100.
Yeah. So let's just say using the formula for efficiency, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write it like this. Eta equals P in over P out. And then I'm going to put this as a subscript. I'm going to put this as a subscript. I'm going to take this and actually make it lowercase. I'm going to turn it into a symbol. I'm going to italicize it. I'm going to italicize all of these guys. And in fact, I'll make sure, in general, you're going to want to have your equations as,
Wouldn't that give you an efficiency greater than 1?
oh, I'm sorry. I think I got it backwards, didn't I? Thanks. Yeah, thanks. P out over P in. What these guys have done here, and this is, you will be able to take this little format, download it, and use it, because you can see that number 1 is also grayed over, just like figure 1, table 1, etc., updated themselves. It's the same deal here. So if you copy and paste this, your equations will be auto-numbered. So when you go in and put in a new one, they will be auto-numbered. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it, I'm going to get rid of the italics, and now what I'm going to make sure I've got is my equation. I'm going to put the equation in the center, and I'm going to put the equation number on the right. So I'm going to go Home, Tab, Tab. So you can see right here at the top, that little center tab, put the equation right in the tab. I don't have a bunch of spaces and everything right there. And that right tab got that number out to the side. Right? Nice. Okay. Now, this is close to okay, but if I write it like this instead, I'm going to say where, where. Now I do not want that caps on there because the word where is still part of the sentence. Where P out is power out, P in is power in, and H is. Okay, so that's looking a little bit better than it did before. I'm not a big fan of having the of sort of drawing all this stuff out. So that W is wrong. Also, this big X is also kind of not proper. A better way to do that is to do a backslash and then say times. Better looking times. And then also put that 0 in front of any number with a decimal. I mean, believe it or not, I mean that could save lives. If we were doing a critical thing, you wouldn't want to have a 15 horsepower pump where in fact you wanted a 0.15 horsepower pump. Sometimes hard to see that decimal if you don't have the 0 in front. Okay, the 0 in front of the 0.18 is fantastic. All right, so that's how to do an equation. I did a little bit of formatting. There we go. Shading analysis. This equation looks pretty good, and you can see that I've rewritten that saying it's in narrative form, and they've done a pretty good job. What they haven't done is italicized, so I'm going to put that in italics. I'm going to put H in italics, especially for the letter A. If it's just sitting there in plain font, it looks just like the word A instead of the variable A. And here's D in italics as well. tan minus 1, that should be superscripted. Okay. This is a little bit sloppy. I'd kind of like to see that guy as not there. The period goes here, doesn't it? And we need a year right there. All right, so EV wants tool, figure 4, looking good. And I'll just say it, I'll just write in here, nice job referencing the figure before it appears.